Hello and welcome back to Power 5610. As you can see, we have arrived at our camping site. As of right now, it is just about quarter afternoon, so we're gonna go noon to noon. It's Saturday, March 14th. Temperature's like 45 degrees. It's supposed to drop down to like 35 tonight. I do have a guest with me. You've seen him before, Evan Best. This is the campsite. This is an old campsite that we used to use. There's a road just right up here, but we are back kind of in the woods. And as you can see, this place has been trashed since we've been here last. So we're gonna spend the next couple, probably the next hour at least, cleaning it up. And I'll be back with you. Once we get it cleaned up, we'll get the fire started, and then we'll get our shelters up, and we'll start moving on from there. Okay, moving on. We're gonna be doing, as you can see, I have two cameras here. I brought 3 batteries for this main camera, and then I brought my GoPro because I brought a battery bank. This is rechargeable. Those have to be plugged into an actual socket. So I wanted to make sure I could get at least 4 videos out of this, and in order to do that, I'm gonna have to sacrifice some video quality. For those who haven't seen, however, this is the new setup that I have for this. With the mic, I got a grip for it, and this is the base for it. I'll put links to those down below as well. I really am enjoying this new mic. It seems like you guys are enjoying it as well. But right now we're gonna get starting the fire, and once we get the fire started, we're gonna move on to building up our base camp basically and setting up shelter. So we're gonna move down here. As you can see, this has been used several times by different parties, groups of people. But this used to be a beaver dam. It has been since kind of destroyed. Holy crap, that bridge is not sturdy. I wanted to get down to the water because if you guys haven't heard of this company, everything that you see in these videos, I'm just gonna copy and paste all their links down below. This is a Blackbeard fire starter. I cut some of it off for the earlier video, but as you can see, it's fully submersible in water. And the reason I like these so much is I suggest everyone just keep one. You can keep it in your car, you can keep it in your truck glove compartment, you can put it in your everyday carry. They're small, they're lightweight. Let's see if I can get across this without breaking it. And as you can see, the place has been kind of trashed. It used to be a very social place, and as we all know, aluminum does not get rid of itself. So we have kind of a trash and leaf pile here, but I have my Ferris rod from the Wish multi-tool, and I also have the knife from the Wish multi-tool. And I'm just gonna cut off a chunk of this stuff and place it down into this rubble, and we'll get ourselves a fire going. So basically, what we have here is everything that comes off of that when you cut it apart, and this was the end that was submerged. And you just make a nice little ball here in your hands. You kind of work it all together so you get these nice little fibers. And then what you do with that, you stack that down into a corner like that. I got some more locks here that I can use for fire starter. Once again, these all got wet. My hands are wet. And this stuff just works amazingly. Under these conditions, you can see it's just all little fibers there. So we'll get that going. And then I've got my Wish fire starter here with the Wish knife. And I don't care about this. This isn't the sharpest of blades. I will be using it later. I cut my thumb actually on my other knife while I was trying to get this, but you just got to get a couple of good sparks on there. And you can see it lights right up. So then we got a nice little fire going there. And we got this huge leaf pile as well as some trash that we're going to be burning. Son of a gun, that's not going to stop. So we're going to kind of rake all these leaves together, get this fire centralized once we get it going. But we've got plenty of sticks, plenty of leaves in here to get the whole thing going.
I thought I had recorded a scene explaining why we were putting up a tent, but apparently that got lost somewhere in the recording, or I just didn't turn on the camera. Something happened to it. Anyway, we set up the tent for Evan because originally he wasn't planning on coming, but then at the last minute he changed that he could come. And we also set it up for my equipment because I knew it was going to rain and snow, and I didn't want to let my camera, mic, all that stuff get wet, and as well as anything else that I couldn't fit in my shelter. So this is just a little recording of us setting up the tent for Evan and the equipment.
Times we had, I see it now, I see it now. Real love, now I'll break through to show to you that I'm more good than I am bad. I'll work it out, I'll work it out.
All right, so I'm gonna start building up my shelter. We got the tent up, which is simple, as we all know. But I'm gonna go find 2 sticks. I need them to be about 3 feet long, so I'm just gonna go find some saplings or maybe even some branches. The multi-tool shovel that I got, which will be in the previous video, has this shovel head on it. And this part right here, if you look, it has like an edge to it. And that is to be for like an axe. So I'm not gonna go split wood with it just yet. I will try that before the day is over, but for right now I'm gonna go find 2 limbs. I brought an emergency blanket, which I explained earlier in the video. I did bring an emergency blanket, so I'm gonna put like the bottom down, and then it's gonna slope up and then have just a little bit of an overhang to catch any rain or anything that comes over my head. And I'm gonna face it right towards the fire here. As you see, I did put on the Shemagh because the coat is a little restrictive. Like I said in the other video, it just runs a little bit small, so it's a little restrictive. This keeps just enough heat in, and it's still about 45 degrees out, and I have my insulated pants on and my wool socks. So I'm staying warm. It's just my upper part's a little bit cold, and I don't wanna put on the hoodie yet, or the coat yet. So I'm gonna bring you along with me, and we're gonna cut down some sort of tree or branch, and I just need 2 of them to build what I want to build. So I just did a little bit of brush cutting with this. It slips in my hand a little bit because it's not, like, for some reason when it hits it tends to curve off, and I'm assuming that's because it's not the sharpest tool in the world. And it's about to get a little bit more dull, but I was looking at this branch, the second one up, just making sure I'm pointing to the right one. The second one up here, it's just about long enough for me to cut it in half. So I'm gonna cut it off the tree. We're gonna put the wish shovel to the test. And it is a little bit lower. Also, I cut my thumb earlier and I wrapped it up, and it's bleeding underneath this bandage, but for right now it seems to have stopped, but I'm not 100% sure. So this will be coming off, but that's why I have this over my hand. Yeah, it definitely comes loose after a couple of swings. So like I said, I need 2 about 3 foot lengths. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume it's right about where these start to bifurcate. So I'm gonna put this down, chop off this end. There we go. I mean, other than the fact that I'm hitting this with a shovel, it's not bad. It is working for what it's meant to use, but it is a shovel, it's not an axe. So for right now, I gotta give it a pass on the axe head. The saw blade's kind of useless, I'm not gonna lie. I tried sawing with it to get some of this other stuff out of my way. There's just not enough length on that, because it just goes from here to here. And there's just not enough length. So we'll get back to the base camp over here and I'll show you how I plan to set up. So I have my, that's a little over 6 foot length thing, but that's okay because I'm going to bury it with the shovel. Let's see if I can, okay, the saw blade doesn't work bad for like little twigs, but I have a little bit of a length here that I'm going to cut off right where it bends here. I'm going to cut that off and then split this in half. Okay, so I got 2 equal pieces of wood. Actually surprised at how well this turned out. I'm going to put like a little cut right here so I can run some paracord through both. I'll probably bury that end and split this part down in. But I'm gonna lay out the emergency blanket. I'm gonna set these on either side so I know how wide I need to make these. And then I'll show you my process as to how I'm gonna set up my shelter for tonight. I'll probably set everything up just so it's all ready. I don't have to mess with it later tonight. I might throw my sleeping bag inside the tent until the rain passes, because it says it's gonna be about 3 hours of snow, wind, and rain. And then it said like 30% chance, so we may not see any, but it is gonna get down to about 30s tonight. And then after that, we're gonna cook a little bit of lunch because Evan and I both ate this morning, early this morning. And so we're gonna eat lunch and then move on from there. So after getting out the cheap emergency blanket, I bought it for like $2. So you could get those from Wish, I'm sure, just the same quality because this one already ripped. So my plan is, instead of making the shelter that I planned with the down and the cross and the down, I didn't get this emergency blanket out till just now. So I'm going to just make like a lean-to down to the ground, and that should keep me warm. It should reflect enough heat off of the fire as well. So still gonna be doing part of my plan, just not the entire thing.
Times we had, I see it now, I see it now. Real love, now I'll break through to show to you that I'm more good than I am bad. I work it out, I work it out. And I'll be somewhere that you need me, and I'll be holding my breath, waiting for you to show.
You guys can't see it on the camera, but there are roots, rocks, and old logs kind of buried in this soot. And I gotta say, the shovel's biting right through them. It's not giving me any problems. So we'll put this down in there. We're gonna bury it just a little bit deeper. Hear that rattling? Yeah, that's the Ferris rod broke off in there. That's okay. that one's in there. I'm gonna dig this one up next. So, let's see if I can get you guys the full shot of what's going on here. So I took a piece of the wish paracord and I ran it across here. And now I just got to figure out a way to secure this to these. I'm thinking about just taking a little bunch of it like this and just wrapping a piece of paracord around both ends and doing the same over here, so I have at least, I mean, it's not going to be the greatest shelter, but it would do in a pinch situation. And then I don't know what I'm going to do with the back end yet. I might just put some logs down on the back there and get it up, or anchor down the back. One thing you got to always remember when you're working with paracord, when you cut it, make sure, this side didn't really cinch that well, but make sure you burn the ends so it doesn't fray. I've just been taking these little pieces and running them over the fire. It just kind of saves it. I mean, it's not necessary, but it is kind of nice to have, just to burn the ends so it doesn't fray out like it's meant to do. Okay, so I got my base camp set up here. I got my lean-to, tied these off up here. As you can see there, I tied those off. I just put logs in the back to hold it down. I put my mattress in my original tent, so you can see the inflatable mattress is right here. I threw my sleeping bag in the other tent for right now because, like I said, we're supposed to get a little bit of rain. But that's the setup we have right now for the base camp. This is going to be my shelter, and then we got Evan's shelter and the fire right here. So we're pretty set up for tonight. Now we're just going to cook up some food and see what else we can get into tonight.